There's a series on YouTube produced by the channel Jubilee where one person sits in a circle surrounded by 20 or 30 people who disagree with them, and the people in the circle take turns debating the guy in the middle. Charlie Kirk went viral a couple weeks ago when he took on 25 woke college students and debated them and did quite well. This week, Ben Shapiro was the latest conservative commentator on the chopping block. Clips of his debates with 25 Kamala Harris voters are going extremely viral all over social media, which as a side note means it's only a matter of time before someone on our PR team tries to convince me to do this too. And I'll just tell them ahead of time, the answer is no. I am not doing this. Don't even bother bringing it to my office. I know you're going to. You'll probably do it today. I don't have the patience required to engage in that many conversations with that many idiots, one after another in close succession. So I'm happy to let Ben and Charlie handle that chore on their own. And they've got the right temperament for it. I don't. So anyway, needless to say, Ben wins every debate during this little tournament. That I think I looked at the YouTube video of this. And it's got like 4 million views in less than a day, and which is incredible. And it's like an hour long. I mean, Ben sat there, and that's with, I'm sure they edited and clipped some stuff I don't know. But sitting there for an hour, just one of these people, one after another with these morons, I cannot imagine. That's hell. It is hell. Now, there are two clips in particular that I want to focus on today from this. And the first is a young woman who tries to challenge Ben on the topic of abortion. This clip it's a little bit long. It's about two and a half minutes. But I think it's worth watching the whole thing or most of it. Here it is.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Hello. Nice to meet you. Oh wow, you look better in person. Okay, so
that's very sweet of you. I don't often get that, so thank you.
Okay, it's fine. How do you define abortion really quickly?
Abortion would be the forcible termination of an unborn human life.
Yes, but why do you hold that definition? Would you not assume something like a C-section would be considered an abortion?
No, because the baby is born alive. So how would that be an abortion?
What does the definition of abortion have to include the death of a fetus?
Because that's literally the definition of abortion.
It literally isn't, though. Where are you getting this definition from?
Where are you getting your definition from?
Let's go to do you in Mayo Clinic, any fucking hospital you've ever gone to before?
A C-section ends with the birth of the child.
Right, but
I know, but abortion, both I and all three of my siblings were born via C-section.
Yeah, I understand this.
I'm here. I'm talking to you.
I know, baby.
Thus I was not aborted.
I understand this, but no. Well, yes, but no. But no, you could simply say that abortion is simply the ending of a pregnancy, right? So the ending of a pregnancy outside of the natural birth of a fetus. So I don't see that. I don't see why you would say that it would have to end in the death of a fetus, which is why I'm pro-abortion all 9 months, right? Because say if a woman is not able to pass a fetus in the natural way, we could have these other abortion processes that would say she needs some type of induction that doesn't include the actual natural expulsion of a fetus. But it doesn't always end in the death of a fetus. So I don't see how you could say that Kamala Harris' stance is immoral in this sense.
I just don't understand how you're removing the death of the fetus from the equation about abortion. That's literally the entire moral issue. You and I would not even be arguing if we were talking about C-sections about natural birth.
But it seems like at its core, though, we disagree on what the inherent definition of abortion is.
You could leave away. We could very easily solve this. Let's just not talk about the word abortion. Let's talk about the forcible termination of a baby.
Okay. So then, what do you value in the fetus then?
The life of the fetus.
Okay. So then, when is this? You said it begins at conception.
Yes.
And why is that?
Because that is literally the biological definition of when an independent life begins.
Yes, but why does it have moral value?
It has moral value because that's literally the biological definition of when a human life begins.
Right, but why does that have moral value, though?
Okay, why does any life have moral value?
I would value sentience.
But why?
Right, because
based on what?
This is simply what we value, you and I value. Is it okay to unplug a brain dead patient, for example?
I mean, the question is whether it's okay to unplug a brain dead patient. Actually, quite a controversial one in sort of religious circles. Mm-hmm. But as far as why, I'm just wondering if somebody's in a coma and they're going to wake up, do you have the right to unplug them?
Well, coma's not brain death, though. We know that there's future sentience there. It would be a matter of a conjunct of past, future. Past, present, or future sentience. A person in a coma has. I
agree, and guess what? Fetuses also have guaranteed future sentience.
Well, no, because you're only valuing one half of the conjunct. That's not right. So it would be past, present, or future.
Now you're changing the topic. I mean, we started with what's the value of the fetus.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
It's actually more challenging than you think to debate someone who is that fundamentally wrong about everything. I think people make the mistake when you watch something like that and you go, I could do that. That woman's a moron. It's harder than you think because the challenge is that, as you can see in the clip, your opponent will jump from one irrelevant, inane point to another, rapid fire style, and each point is so baseless and so preposterous and so disconnected from reality and so unrelated often to the topic at hand that it's hard to know where to begin when you engage with it. I mean, she was wrong on every level about every single thing she said in that conversation. And, just as you start engaging with one wrong thing, she's hopped off that lily pad and on to the next one. So it's a bit like trying to wrestle, metaphorically, a giant slug. The slug is so ungainly and big and slimy that it's just difficult to pin down. You're probably not going to lose the match to the slug, but it's just, you don't know, there's nothing to grip onto here. And that's the position that Ben was in during that 2.5-minute exchange. He did a remarkably good job given those challenges. But what you really see in that clip is the fundamental moral and scientific confusion that lies at the root of leftism. The woman is sure that she supports abortion, but she doesn't even know what abortion is, or what human life is, or when human life has value, or why it has value. She has a position on abortion, but not on any of the individual points that should inform her position on abortion. This logically speaking, if you have a position on something like abortion, then that should be built on top of a bunch of other positions that lie underneath it that lead you to supporting abortion. But what you find with these people is that when you look deeper, all the points underneath the larger point, they have no clue. They don't even know. They have no idea. This is a woman so helplessly confused that she has gone through life thinking that a C-section is the same thing as an abortion. This is a dangerous level of confusion and ignorance. But confusion and ignorance don't have to be dangerous. If you're confused and ignorant and aware that you're confused and ignorant, then that could be the starting point on a journey towards greater knowledge and understanding. The problem is that the leftists sitting around that circle are confused and ignorant and at the same time arrogantly self-assured. These are people volunteering to debate Ben Shapiro, one of the best rhetoricians in the country, who's like, this is what he does. I mean, rapid fire debates with a bunch of people. That's like, this is, and you're volunteering for that despite having no grasp on any of the topics that are going to be discussed. It's just a lethal mixture of ignorance and arrogance. On the plus side, it does make for some funny viral videos. On the negative side, it's completely destroying our country and civilization. So, those two things, I don't know if they balance out or not. And that brings us finally to this clip, which is has all of the problems of the last one, but is somehow even worse. Watch.
Wow, okay, we're going to take this chair. Look at that.
Hey, Ben.
Like a bro, my friend. All right.
How's it going?
Let's break open
first question, can men get pregnant?
Men cannot get pregnant.
Okay, awesome. So
definitionally.
Definitionally, okay. Do men experience SA? Sexual assault?
Sure.
Got it. What about the existence of trans men?
What about the existence? Do you mean women who believe that they are men? What are we talking about here? Women experiencing gender dysphoria?
So my other question is, do you benefit from white supremacy in any way, shape, or form?
I'm going to need more specifics on what you mean by white supremacy.
Here, let me give it to you then.
Sure, please.
So I'm a transgender man.
Okay.
I've experienced SA.
Okay.
And abortion rights affect me directly. So if we're talking about the American dream that you live, why don't I have access to that? Because there's no legislation, in the history of America, that legislates a man's body, so why does mine have to be legislated? I've got a vagina.
I'm not interested in what your genitalia are.
Clearly you are. I mean, it's all over everything you make, buddy. I'm sorry. I hate to say it to you, but
I think you can read on my face that I radically am not. I think you can read on my face that I radically am not. When we're talking about abortion...
No, I don't. I mean, you can present it here, but in most of the content that you have, you attack my community constantly. And you don't even realize guys like me exist, who actually share a lot of similarities to you and everything, because I'm a married man of 20 years.
I've got a wife. I recognize that you exist. I disagree with your claim that you are a male.
That goes on, by the way, for another 3-4 minutes. The M. Night Shyamalan twist in that clip is that the man is actually a female. Of course, it's not much of a twist because even before she reveals herself as a female, you could already tell she was interrupting constantly and bringing up a whole bunch of irrelevant personal details in an argument. So that was a dead giveaway. Also, the flipping the chair around, the exaggerated posture, all of it had the cartoonish quality of somebody playing a character. And I really love flipping the chair around to sit down because that's what you think a man would do. When in reality, like a man, when we see a chair, we just sit in it. Like we don't. I like having the back of the chair available so I can sit back, and I don't. That's what men do. We don't see a chair as an opportunity to like perform. But then she gives up on that, 20 seconds in, and just flips the chair back around the real way, and then sits down. But once again, you see the inherent challenge of debating a leftist. I mean, we watched that clip for a minute and a half, and by the end of it, it still isn't clear what point she's trying to make or what position she's supposedly even defending. Like if I showed you that clip and I didn't tell you that they're supposed to be talking about abortion, you wouldn't even really know that. She's bringing up all these things that have nothing to do. I'm a trans man. I'm married. I've been married for 20 years. I was sexually assaulted. It's like, okay, what does any of that have to do with the topic? In theory, she's supposed to be arguing against Ben's claim that Kamala's extreme pro-abortion stance is morally indefensible. But she opens by informing Ben that she has a vagina, that she identifies as trans, that she's been sexually assaulted, and that she's been married for 20 years. Now, that being sexually assaulted, that's tragic. It's a tragic point. We pity her for it. We feel sympathy for her. None of those details, though, again, have anything to do with the topic. Anything. None of it amounts to an argument of any kind. What she's trying to establish, apparently, is that she has a personal stake in the abortion issue. But her personal stake doesn't make her right, and it doesn't make her more credible. In fact, if anything, it goes the other way. When somebody is personally invested in an issue, it can create a bias, which can interfere with their ability to assess the arguments objectively. What happens here, this is the other thing you see in that little clip, is that the left constantly tries to hold our objectivity against us as if we are discredited by our lack of personal bias. So they like to point out that pro-life men are not harmed by abortion, right? It's not our body. It's not our lives at stake. Don't like abortion? Don't get one. That's the refrain. We've heard it a million times. And they're right to a certain extent. It is no skin off my nose personally if a woman gets an abortion. I am not personally harmed by it. I suffer no personal injury. And it doesn't directly impact my life in any tangible way. And yet, I'm still opposed to it. I gain nothing from opposing it. I don't benefit from opposing it. I don't benefit if I agreed with it. I have no benefit. It does not benefit me. I have no personal stake in this. That's right. But that only makes me and other pro-life men more credible. Like, if anything, it increases our credibility. It means that we oppose abortion purely because we have assessed the arguments for and against and come to the conclusion that the arguments against abortion are better and more persuasive. That, again, is called objectivity. It doesn't make you less credible. It makes you more credible. As we see in the clips, they, in principle, oppose any objective analysis of the facts. In their world, whoever has a deeper emotional investment in the subject always wins. That's really why in both of these clips you see them bring up irrelevant things and why she's going through all of her personal past history and trauma. Because in her mind, if I can prove that I have a deeper emotional investment in this issue, I'm automatically right. I automatically win just because it would hurt my feelings more if I don't win. And, the other good thing for them is they always have the deeper emotional investment in their minds because their emotions are always deeper and more profound than anyone else's. That's how you end up with people who are so fantastically wrong about everything and yet so sure of their rightness. which is why I could never sit down and debate 25 of these people one at a time. But I'm glad that guys like Ben are willing to do it. And that's why his 25 interlocutors are today canceled. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.